Now, while your heads are down, take your right arm and lift up to where it's pointing straight up in the air. Everybody? Thank you. All right, keep all your fingers down, and when I ask, I just want to show fingers, not hands, fingers. Who likes In-N-Out Burger more than Whataburger? Okay, put them down. So my name is Russell Prowse, and I'm going to talk today about groupthink and conformity. So conformity is defined as an action in accord to prevailing social standards, attitudes, and practices. If you can guess, what we just did today has a lot to do with conformity. I don't know if everybody was in class, but whenever that same question was posed, we only had one person who said they liked In-N-Out Burger. I'm not going to say who it was today, but today we had 3. So obviously, conformity still exists. Solomon Asch in 1951 performed an experiment called the conformity experiment, the Asch conformity experiment, where he had a group of people that were all together, called Confederates, that were part of the experiment, sit and in this group, and they would introduce one participant, and all 3 of them would look at 3 different lines at 3 different lengths, and then would be shown a separate line that matched one of those lengths. You know what I'm talking about. So 32% of all the participants in that study ended up conforming to the rest of the group whenever the group would specifically state that the size of the one line was entirely different from the one they said it was. So in other words, if you have 3 different lines, 1, 2, 3, and then this line, even though this one is supposed to be roughly the same as 1, the group would say it was 2. 32% of all the participants would go along with the rest of the group and say it was 2, even though they know that it didn't match. Out of all these people, 75% of them conformed at least once. Out of everybody. 25% never conformed. There was another experimenter and psychologist named Irving Jennings who in 1971 wrote a paper called Groupthink, discussing the perils of something like this in a group meeting or say a business, something that needs to be a business decision or something along those lines. As you can tell, with conformity, you limit the amount of free thinking that everybody might have in a group. But there are people who decided that it was possible that it was only a specific instance for the time. Adam and Levine, I'll get it right. Should have had no cards. Perrin and Spencer in 1980 did another study where they had tried to replicate the exact same test as Solomon Asch did in 1951 and got absolutely none of the same results. In fact, only 5% of them conformed. But they were also cited that the students specifically might have had training to be individual thinkers and intentionally go with what they know instead of anything else. But even though they say that, even though Perrin and Spencer say that it could have been a specific thing for the time, there have been plenty of other studies in more recent times that have shown otherwise. So Hogg and Vaughn in 1995 did roughly the same experiment as the Asch experiment and recorded nearly exactly the same results as Solomon Asch did in 1951, while noting that maximum conformity happens between having a majority of 3 to 5 people. So now, Allen and Levine, 1968, also noted that having an ally increases their chances of decreasing conformity by 25%. So in closing, like for you to consider today the consequences for conforming to other people's decisions just because you want to avoid confrontation or ridicule. Thank you.